See, it's started already. Hello, everyone. I had the wrong button. Sorted out. I was there busy pressing the button. Nothing was happening. Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the workshop from sunny Beard in Cornwall. As you can tell, the voice isn't played up very well today. Typical. I woke up this morning and nothing happened. Coughed a few times, still nothing happened. But I've got some coffee with me, and I've got a couple of earworms who I will.
Good
You're going to
morning,
help me out
everyone.
today. So we've got Ruby Claire from Canada and Pete from Twisted Trees up in Bristol.
Morning, everyone.
They're going to tell everybody what I'm doing when I can't talk. So I'll put them in the background. They're going to look after you. And what are we doing today? Well, surprise, surprise. We're going to do a bowl. Just because I haven't done one for, I don't know, a few hours. So we've
what
got a
kind
piece
of wood
of,
is this?
I believe it's ash. So
Kind of looks like it.
it's 9.5 by 3. The intention is we're going to do a kind of not quite a calabash, but a rounded bottom bowl. So there'll be no flat base on the bottom. The bowl's going to come round, and we'll go over at the top, do an undercut rim, hollow it out, maybe do some decoration of something, if we can. So it's mounted on a worm screw, short worm screw, because I've got a backing plate in there. Just it's only in short, so I've got the tailstock up just for the first few cuts. I'm going to start just shaving off the bottom, giving it some a clean face to start with. Just got some gunk on my tailstock, which I'm a head tool rest, which I just want to rub off, and these guys will read out the chats. Tell me who's in.
Would you like to do the honors, Pete?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Late to 0. Bring the speed up.
Going up to the top of my chat. First one in was Ruby, although I'm sure I was there before, but never mind.
You were.
So following Ruby, we have Seth from Brickhouse Craftworks, Tipsy Turner, Jim Matthew, Ryan at Woodturning, Colin, Woodwood Read by Colin, John Scarborough, Hugh from Wouldn't It Be Nice, Leroy 500, Brian with a Y,
You got Robert Hodgepodge?
I haven't reached him yet.
Okay.
Got Terry Bartlett, Chris Dodds, Amy DeAngelis.
So I'm just going to mark up for a 10.
Malcolm Douglas, Rob from Copper Owl, William Kenny, Richard Phelan, Todd of Glen Cove, Norman Greenwell,
Did you get Klingspor abrasives?
no,
They make a very nice abrasive paper.
this one there, Stephen Gordon, Paul Houghton, Chris Dodds, I think we've done that one already. Clive Rogerson. David J. Heath, the Guildford Carpenter.
There's Wesley Hannah.
Now I can say it. Robert from Hodgepodge Woodwork said, at least Mark knows his ash from a hole in the ground. I spotted that on the way up and I thought, I'll leave him until I get to that comment.
What was that?
You know your ash from a hole in the ground.
Amy says she likes a nice round bottom too.
Nice round bottom. Yeah, I've heard that, Amy.
We've got Fred
Bush
Gilliver, Joy English, Wesley Hannah. I think that's it. Oh no, Stephen the Wood Dude. Welcome everybody. This is going to be a rounded bottom ash bowl. 9.5 by 3, wasn't it, Mark?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Stephen says, as a retort to your comment that he's bonkers, a bit of bonkers makes better turners. And
That's
I have to agree, Stephen.
I have to say, with my experience of the turners I've met, that's totally true.
In fact, I think it's a prerequisite now, isn't it?
Yes.
Unfortunately, Joy was moving to Tennessee yesterday and got rear-ended by a semi, and she's stuck in Arkansas.
That's not good.
No.
Hopefully get that sorted out.
Oh, Wayne the Woodturner has joined us. Hi, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
Wayne.
That's a nice cut, Mark.
Sorry, what was that, Ruby?
I said that was a lovely cut.
Thank you.
I was thinking the same, but I didn't want to speak until you finished it.
Well, he's got to learn how to be interrupted while he's working.
Well, that's true.
Now, you have your granddaughter who usually interrupts you, and Mark doesn't have that going on, so
That's true, yeah.
he has us instead.
But I'm all right for a couple of weeks yet because they're still at school.
Right, so change the tool rest. I'll put my curved one in. Just because I can.
That enables you to make the cut going all the way around.
Yeah. So still using a 1/2 inch.
Can we have a quick overhead of that curve rest?
Yeah. So it starts there, goes around to there. There it is.
Now, as Mark's making that cut, notice how he's moving his body through the cut, and he's letting the tool handle come around as well. This is
So I start here, but I finish here. So I get my feet in the position for where I finish and lean into the cut.
This is what's called dancing with the wood. Chris says that he turns at a a men's shed full of old guys, and now he can talk and turn at the same time.
Yeah.
Good.
Jennifer's joined us. Good afternoon, Jennifer.
Hi, Jen.
Back to the 3/8 just to do a little bit of shear scraping. Now, got a little bit of a bump there. I'll just bring that in. So just there, if you can see it, probably about where my finger is there.
Yeah.
Yep, we can see it.
There's a bit of a bump. So just going to shear cut. So the handle's low. If I could actually see where the bevel is. There we go. That's better. And then the shavings you get off a shear cut are those little angel hairs. You can see those. And that gives you a lovely finish. You can do the same coming back the other way.
That's a good indication your tool is nice and sharp as well.
Yeah. Robert said, a bump on your ash is normal, Mark. You're getting older.
Yeah. And when I'm making this cut, I'm looking at this point here. That's better. Just a little bit there.
When I was first learning how to turn bowls and that, Alan Batty used to come by and he would put a paper covering where your tool was touching the wood, so you couldn't see it and you had to look at the horizon of the piece. And that was probably one of the best lessons he ever taught me.
Shameless name dropping. Shameless.
He's passed away now.
Well,
Yeah. I think I would have enjoyed a lesson with Alan Batty.
Oh, he was a character. He used to tease me unmercifully.
Now we're going to lose.
Andy Woodbrook learner's been in. I've seen a few of his comments, but I can't remember if I said hello to him or not. But just in case I didn't. Hi, Andy.
I've lost the center point of my tenon now, which I need. Well, I probably don't need because I'm going to probably.
It's a good idea to have it on.
I'm probably going to reverse it on a vacuum chuck anyway, but it's good to have it there, yeah. So that's there. Take the elbow stabber out. Let's have a look at what we've got.
Question, is your ash fully seasoned or semi-damp?
No, this is pretty much ready to go. It's about 12%.
That's got a nice curve to it.
It's not bad, is it? Quite happy with that.
I find that sort of semi-calabash solves a problem when you've got 3 inches just a bit too deep for a standard bowl shape. It just looks a little bit cumbersome. Bring it around like that, it solves that problem.
Or use that curved rest.
Yeah, that curved rest is good.
Switch
not available anymore, though, is it?
Pardon?
Not available anymore.
The guy
made them, stopped making them.
I took some
Shame.
steel into a local welder and had him make it up for me.
Yeah.
There we go. Got the tools, might as well use them. That's a Glen Lucas negative rake scraper. Just gives a nice finish around the outside.
Todd makes a good point. When you vacuum, you call it hoovering. But when you mention a vacuum chuck, you don't call it a hoover chuck.
It's very true.
No, Hoover was the biggest name in manufacturing of vacuum cleaners in the UK.
It was over here too.
And they used to have their salesmen go around and throw soot onto the hall carpet and then hoover it up for you.
Right.
Try and get them established. So they became the name, same as oh, I can't think of anything else now. Lots of things. The first manufacturer that sort of strikes into your mind is the name you give the product. But
So just a bit of a bump there.
Well, they've always called it vacuuming here.
That's better. So I'm just being ultra picky, people. Sorry.
no, you're correcting it. I can see the difference you're getting there.
That's better. Yeah. I've got you guys can't see it, but there's a piece of black board on the wall behind me, and I can use that to look at the profile as it's spinning. Yeah, happy with that. Right. So, now it comes to the fun part. Sanding.
Robert's been my rescue of my dodgy memory. Tupperware and Kleenex. Jeep.
Right, so I'm going to start with 120. This is the part my earworms love, because as soon as I turn my dust extractor on, I can't hear a word they say, so they can take the mickey relentlessly. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Should I go with that back?
You know, I've done a drawing and worked out a parts list so we can build an interior cupboard to keep that thing quiet. I've got timber stock in my workshop extension. Going towards it.
I picked up
This
one
market
of the
hasn't been
records.
available for me to go down and build it yet.
Well, I picked up a record power cam vac, and when you add the long hoses in the top, it takes the noise all the way out. So if you extend the hose outside or into an attic or somewhere else, it makes it very, very quiet.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the extractor behind the lathe there. It's one of the big canister types, and they are horribly noisy. They need to be isolated.
Now,
What we need to do is build an insulated room so that the insulation will act as sound insulation to it.
Yeah, I replaced my tall one like that with the cam vac. It takes up half the space as well.
Joyce, she said she's almost out of phone juice and charges the same black hole as the rest of the glasses. Hope it all goes well for you, Joy, and get yourself sorted. Give us a shout on one of the channels when you get to your new home.
Yes, for sure.
Woodturning by Barry said he had to get a passerby to help him lift the headstock onto his lathe. Yep, that is a heavy component. I usually use a Black & Decker workmate and put it halfway between, so I lift it onto that and then from that to the lathe.
Brian with a Y says that when he had the cleaning business, the staff always used to refer to their Henrys as we use only pneumatic vacuums.
Yeah.
that was 120. 180 next.
Now, Stephen says that he listens to music on Bluetooth headphones when sanding. And I found when I tried using the headphones, I got too much static from the waves to be able to use them. Oh,
Yeah, I just cut so well that I can't get an entire song played while I'm sanding. That's my way out of it, Stephen.
Brent Beecroft has joined us. I hope he's got his long underwear out in the north. As up north, we're expecting snow.
Happy with that. $2.40 next.
Mark, did you start with 80 or 120? I can't remember.
We started at 120.
Yeah.
Right, slightly different procedure now for me. I've just got a grain pop sand. So what that means is you can use water or you can use meths. Just introduce a little bit of liquid to the piece. Stay on 240. Just going to let that flash off dry. And then I'll sand it again. What this does is just fluffs up the fibers. And then all I'm going to do now is denip the fibers. Then I'll apply sanding sealer. Then I'll apply Yorkshire grit. Now, if you can't get Yorkshire grit, or you don't use Yorkshire grit, you can do this technique. Then you could use the next grit up, so 320 or 400. Water pop again at 400. And then that'll give you your final finish. And you can apply your oil or your sealer as you require.
Recently, I read an article that said meth is actually quite toxic to people, and that you should be very careful if you're using it with bare hands. Something to think about.
Yeah, it's now banned in California. One of the carcinogenic family.
Yeah, they found sunshine in it.
Yeah.
Well, sunshine is carcinogenic. There's no question about it.
Yeah, so is oxygen.
Right.
I don't think I'll give that up yet.
No, not yet.
That's a lovely, lovely soft finish.
Woodturning says, do they do shooter badges larger than Mark's? No, Mark's is the full-size one. Terry's got the hobbit-sized one.
And if there's space just there for hopefully another badge coming soon. We've got to talk about that one.
I keep most of my badges in the drawer because I'm too lazy to sew them on.
Stephen wants to know, were you employed as a fluffer earlier on in your life?
In my early career, yes, Stephen.
And Woodturning by Barry said, where did you get the sander from, Mark?
Screwfix. Buy it on a Monday. If you go in on a Monday, they give 10% off. And they also 10% off over £100. And they also give you a £10 voucher on a Monday. So basically, you get about 24 quid off it.
That's a good deal.
If you buy it on a Monday, yes. I have to admit, it was a want, not a need. but it does make life a lot easier.
Now, what are you putting on it now?
Sand and sealer. This is Cellular Sand and Sealer 60/40. 60 sand and sealer, 40 cellulose thinners. And I might actually just do a second coat, because I actually got the shape I really like on this, so this might be a special piece.
Woodwork Learner says that Mondays must be Pensioners' Day. Is it, Mark?
No, that's Thursdays.
Oh, okay.
You would know, Andy. Right, just excuse me for a sec. I've got
Yeah, I
a
have to go
slim.
shopping on Thursdays. But yeah, talking about the meth being a health problem, I think that's true of any solvent of any sort, to be honest.
Yes, I
Any
agree.
solvent you need to be a bit cautious of.
Well, a lot of people don't think about it. They think about breathing it, but they don't think about it coming into. No, I'm not going to sing, Mark.
Sing,
It's a
Joe,
good one.
sing.
Everybody
It's a good one.
would leave if I did that. But
No, but it
there's.
only works if you show it to the camera, Ruby.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work unless you show it to the camera.
People don't think about the fact that your skin will absorb things like the meth right into it, the bloodstream.
Apply the Yorkshire grit. We all know how this works. Big dollop. Get it while you can. Get it
When
while
I
it's
was a
still
child,
cheap.
we had to wash our hands in meth to toughen them up, so you didn't get blisters from shoveling.
That gets to go over there.
No,
Right.
what you have to do is start shoveling at an early age so you build them up over time.
As I said, I was a child.
Just noticed my bedways have got some super glue on them from yesterday. I had to apply some super glue to this piece. Right, so lay the speed down to 0, start to lathe up, wind up the speed to about 350 is the optimum, 354, and away we go. 2 to 3 minutes, let the grit work in and rub down, break down, and as it breaks down, it increases the grit from 240 up to about 1,000. Now I probably got this up to higher than 240 to start with, because I did the grain pop. Even with using 240 grit, using that probably took it up to about a 320.
Were you going to put any decoration on the outside?
No, I was going to decorate the inside actually, just for a change.
Decorate the inside?
The bottom on the inside, like a rose.
Oh. I think I'd leave it and put the decoration on the base of the foot, because if the bowl was used for salad or something like that, you don't
Yeah, that's
really
good.
want a decoration in the bottom.
Yeah, good too.
A lot of people, when they decorate pieces on the inside, forget that if it's used with food, you can get bacteria build up in the decoration. But
So all the
it is.
schmeck is getting caught in the paper. That one. That one. That's where all the dust goes, hence no extractor. And you can hear my super sexy velvety tones.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
You know, the first time I told Mark that, he didn't believe me. Now he
Well, I do, because somebody else told me this weekend as well that I had a very sexy, sultry voice. So, you know.
So spending months in the hospital with tubes down your throat can work to your advantage, right?
Yeah. Hey, got me Kim. She loves my voice.
Well, so do I.
Right, so that's at a couple of minutes. Turn the paper over, because I'm tight-fisted and I don't want to use a different piece of paper. Bring the speed up. And now all you're doing is just working, just buffing off any residual. So there's a little bit just there. Turn the paper over.
Stephen Gordon said Wood Dude told him that.
Yeah, she probably was. No, I know who it was. I can't say who it was because it's not fair on her. Keep changing the paper to a clean part. Remember, very important, Yorkshire grit is an abrasive paste. It's not a finish. It'll look lovely and shiny when you finish, but that won't last for more than a few weeks.
Well, Yorkshire grit starts at about 320 grit, it then shatters down to about 400 grit, then it shatters again down to about 600 grit, then it shatters down to about 800, then 1,000. So effectively, that's 5 grades of sandpaper. Give it that much time.
Well, folks, you can always buy Mark a coffee, and if you do that, he could use the money to buy more paper towels.
Yeah. When I first started wood turning, I knew that there was going to be a large investment in tools. I never realized the biggest investment would be in paper towels.
Paper towels and abrasive paper.
Right, so I'm just going to go straight to a microcrystalline on the outside. Keep it simple.
Woodturning by Barry's off. He's going to finish putting his lathe together.
Have fun, Barry. Good lathe choice, by the way.
Oh,
Did you buy the show one that Simon had there? He bought an FU 230.
Is that
No,
the
you bought it before.
Stratus lathe?
Hey?
Was that
Yeah,
a
Stratos.
They're beautiful lathes. When I taught a
One Ed
class
Oliver has.
in Germany, I got to use them in our class, and it was really a nice lathe to work with.
Right, bring the speed back up again. That's
Brian with a Y is asking, is your voice a result of wood turning, as he gets the same problem after spending time on the lathe?
who was asking that?
Brian with a Y.
Brian with a Y. No,
Long
Brian with a
story
Y.
short, Brian, is because Mark's been in hospital and his vocal
died a
cords
few
got
times.
damaged.
Died a few times. Sepsis, coma, necrotizing fasciitis.
I still couldn't get rid of him. Sorry about that.
Died 4 times. Go back to my early part of my YouTube, Brian with a Y. There's a video there explaining everything that happened. It's long, tragic.
Woodwork
Sad.
Learner says his voice vanished when he had a tube down his throat. Can't talk loudly at all now, but we can hear him quite fine.
When you meet me in person, my voice is slightly different than it comes across using this microphone.
Actually, you don't even notice it.
Well, this is the point of the journey, really. Brian said sorry he didn't know. Don't need to apologise, because at the end of the day, the past is the past, and Mark's moved on from it, and
absolutely, it's made me
further forward than most of us.
Made me who I am today. So without it, I'd just still be a bus driver in Bristol.
Well, we're glad you're still with us, Mark.
Yeah, if you'd have stayed as a bus driver in Bristol, I'd never have met you, because I won't use buses.
Oh dear, we might have a problem here.
And I wouldn't have had a chauffeur the whole time I was in England.
There we go.
That's it.
So I had a little disc. Well, there we go. I had a little spacer disc on the worm screw. I didn't want the worm screw to go. I didn't feel it needed it. Let's go with this one. Right, so take that out of the way.
Klingspor Abrasive says, you sound the same to me as when we met face to face.
Oh yes, at the handles. Well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It's just one of those things.
Well, I hope he gave you a sample of their sandpaper, Mark, because it's the sandpaper I use predominantly here.
No, I don't think he was giving away free samples that day. Hint, hint. Right, so this isn't going to be a thin wall bowl. This isn't going to be. It's going to be, not. I'm going to say chunky, but it's going to have some body to it. So this one.
Serious question from Andy Mead. What's the maximum diameter blank you would use on a worm screw?
Andy, I'm glad you asked me that after the question you asked me the other day. My personal preference is I don't use a worm screw on anything 12 inches or above. Doesn't matter how thick it is, 12 inches is my cutoff. So if it's a 1-inch blank, a 2-inch blank, 3-inch blank, doesn't matter. If it's 12 inches in diameter, I'll use a faceplate. So this was only 9.5. Although it was 3 inches deep, I felt quite happy that it was safe to use on a worm screw. The first few cuts I did yesterday to square the blank up, I had tailstock up for tailstock support. And the first few cuts I did today, you guys saw that I still had the tailstock up. If you don't feel safe with a blank, don't use the worm screw. Because at the end of the day, as I've said before, your safety in your workshop is your responsibility. We just give guidelines.
Yeah.
Good point, Mark. Lewis has joined us. Morning, Lewis.
Morning, Lewis. Lewis is about 3 inches north of Ruby on the map.
About 3 inches?
Yeah, on my map he is, yeah.
And he's due for snow.
Yeah.
So I want you to be able to see the movement I'm doing with this. So handle is into my hip. Find your cut on the wood. And all I'm doing is rocking backwards and forwards with my whole body. I'm not actually moving my arms. And all I'm doing is facing off to give myself a nice clean face to start with. There we go. So this movement here, again, start where you intend to finish. So I'm stood out here, lean in, so the weight goes onto my left leg. So my left leg bends, my right leg straight. And as I move back, I move from my left leg to my right leg. So my left leg straightens and my right leg bends. And I finish in a comfortable position. You don't want to finish, so you don't stand in here and do like this, and then fall over as you get to the end of the cut. So what I need to do now is establish where I want my rim. So I'm thinking probably about that thick. You can see that there.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't think I want to go any thinner than that. So start just away from the line and work back to it.
Amy says they're set for flooding over the next couple of days where she is. My book learner said, I practice that rocking backwards and forwards all the time. Just need to hold the tool next.
Better hold on to somebody's baby.
What Mark is doing there is the step technique that
The
most of us
Glen
learned, but
Clutches?
we're reminded of when we went to Glenn Lucas's.
Yeah.
It's a very quick way of getting rid of the waste. All the pressure is going towards the headstock, so it's a very safe way of turning. You're pushing into the chuck with everything you do, and it gets you a set of level start points for when you get towards your finishing cut.
Yes. You could use a bigger gouge if you want to, or just still have the 3/8 in your hand, so you could
Yeah, I
do
do
it
that
with
all
a
the time.
1/2 inch. Because I've gone up a
3/8
size of
is used for
gouge.
so much of the cutting. It just happens to be in your hand, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, are you going to angle the rim inward, Mark?
Yeah. That's why I haven't paid much attention out here yet.
Joe Senior's joined us. Joe, did you get the cue earlier on and do the song for Glenn?
Right. Which camera do
Tim
we
was
want
held up
best?
towards the camera.
I'm just going to have to move that back slightly. So
Yeah.
see that?
Yes,
I
good.
go to some. There you go. It's just in the way of the tool. So this is probably the last cut I'm going to make with this tool. And I'm going to switch to a different gouge, a different grind on it. Just rubbing the bevel. Transitioning through. I'm not moving my feet. Quite happy to leave that in there at the moment, but you can take it out.
I'd take it out. You know, Mark, your curved tool rest works really well on the inside of a bowl as well.
I was just thinking that, Ruby.
Yeah, especially if you're going a bit undercut.
See, great minds think alike.
Yep.
Now, Brent made a comment back there about that they used to think that the area where I grew up was the surface of the moon. And where I grew up in Sudbury, we had it's the nickel capital of the world. It's where they mine most of the nickel in the world. And because of the smelters and that, all of the area around the town didn't have a lot of vegetation, and it did look like the moon. In fact, several movies were made up there pretending they were on the moon. But since they've put all the stuff on the stacks, Now that area doesn't look like a moon at all. That's going to be a nice bowl, Mark.
Sorry, yes, thank you. I hope so. Sorry, I was just lubricating the vocal cord. Right, so, different grind. This is a traditional grind, or an English grind, or a straight over grind. They're all the same. This is at about 60 degrees. It's like a bottom feeder. The Americans coined the term bottom feeder, but really it's just a traditional grind. And this is easier to use to get in and undercut this rim in here. Now, as I start the cut, I'm actually going to turn the tool and come off the left-hand wing as I come round into the bottom.
Joe, it's a piece of ash. Using the left wing on this particular cut is the easiest way to get an undercut that follows the shape of the bowl.
Yes.
It does require you to lean over the lathe a bit though sometimes.
My picture froze.
Yeah, mine's froze, but it's back now.
Is it back?
Yeah, we're back.
I've actually got the tool extended
Mark,
just a little too much. Go on, Ruby, what?
would you do me a favor and just check your depth?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but as I turn a bowl like that, by the time I get to that point, I've probably already checked it 2 or 3 times.
If Wayne's still watching, I'm using his this time, not mine.
I just use a ruler.
Mark, turn the lathe off.
Right, there we go. I have still got, where did I put it? There it is. An inch. Still an
Okay.
inch of wood in the bottom. And that's to the bottom of the jaws, not the end of the tenon. So
Question
then,
that you can answer, Mark.
go on in.
Woodworking, Woodworking by Colin. He's thinking of getting a 3/8 double-ended bowl gouge. Are they any good?
Yes,
The crown one.
there you go. That is one. So
Mark uses a lot of those.
I use them for my demos mainly. That's the double-ended. So you've got a sweat back grind on one end, traditional grind on the other. I'm just going to reduce that down.
If you like the Simon Hope style handle, then it makes great sense because you're getting double the cutting space out of one tool. But for a demoing like Mark does, it also means you can have 2 sharp tools all in one piece.
What I found is if you're doing a lot of demonstrations, it's handy to have one handle and all of your tools fit into that handle.
Can we go overhead, Mark? Because your arm's in the way of the camera from the start of that cut.
Yep. Sorry. There you go. Now this is the bit I'm just concentrating on at the moment. That's why I'm not going all the way around. Just getting this undercut established. It's a bit thick there, so now I can.
Chronicles asking on opinions on Dremels 3000 or 4000 range. I think mine was probably in the 15 range as opposed to 1000 of any sort.
Range man to ask for that.
Wayne or JP, they're both quite serious Dremel users.
I have several different ones, and I don't think it would matter which one he gets. They'll all do what he needs them to do.
Let's have a look.
Just a comment on that cut for the chat. When you actually watch the tool move, it hardly leaves the spot on the tool rest that's on near the rim of the bowl.
It
Front of the tool
creates
moves a lot further, but you don't actually go along the tool rest much.
Yeah, he pivots around that point.
Yeah.
Now I can show you that. I've got a little. I worked this out the other week. Right. So there's a red line. There's a red line. Can you see that?
Yep. Lewis is asking, were you taught to have your thumb up the handle like that for the cut, or is that a habit?
It's just a habit.
Actually, the left-hand thumb often gets in the way.
Like this?
Yep.
Like that? It's just a habit.
Now, he thinks it looks like it's restricting your movement coming around. Now, William is making a comment that he likes your tool rest and he thinks a trip to the steel yard later. What's important, William, to notice on that is that the part that goes into the banjo is on the far side of the curved part of the steel. It's not in the center.
Yeah, it's more of a J than a curve.
Let's have another look. Just because I think I've gone a little thinner than I wanted to. The problem with this, right? The problem with this gouge is it's so lovely to use because the cuts that it gives are just sweet. You use it too much, and then plenty. I was going to say that happens. I've still got half an inch, so that's all right. But you do get carried away. I've actually gone through the bottom of more bowls than I care to admit because I've just been enjoying making this cut.
And Mark is on a tenon on this one. One mistake I've seen a lot of turners do is that they do that and they forgot they've got 5mm mortise in the bottom of it.
And it does give just the sweetest cut. Of course, everybody, don't move your tool rest while the lathe is spinning. See what that feels like. So a little, quite sure if that's a bit of a ridge or not.
Okay, you haven't shaped the top edge, so you can probably get rid of that ridge when you do that part.
I'm just going to come in and do one more finishing cut.
Greensboro Abrasives got to go. Take care.
Thanks for coming in.
Lewis is leaving too. We'll catch you later, Lewis.
Yep. Cheers, Lewis.
By the way, if you folks are looking for something to do later this afternoon, if you're in North America, or this evening, Emma the Tiny Turner is doing another record power presentation. So it starts at 12:30 in North American time and 7:30 British time.
There is that's a fantastic thing to watch. It's our ebonizing platter, I think, isn't it, tonight?
Yes.
Cheers.
Yeah. And I should be there watching that. Right. So I'm really happy with that cut. And there's a certain Axminster-based woodturner who happens to watch this. No step, continuous curve, all good, mate. All good.
And
Amy off to bed. Good night, Amy.
And double check your depth.
It is. I've checked it. It's fine.
Not since you made a couple more cuts, it isn't.
Yeah, you got plenty there.
That's the same rim depth now, all the way across. Right, so it's 15 mil, or 1, 2, 3 lines after half, whatever that is. Shut up.
Next time I come over, I'm going to have to teach you how to read a.
No, shut. Look, when I grew up, my first year of primary school was in America, and I was there until I was 13, and then we came back here, and I was so messed up because I didn't know what anything was between metric and imperial, so I've never bothered. I am just gonna do this rim a little bit.
When I was at school, we didn't do metric.
So it's
11/16 or
yeah,
5/8 and a bit.
I never get them right. Right, that's enough. Don't want too much of it downward this time, because I do have, I don't know if you can see, there's one there. I think there were two. No, there's just one. This was one of the cracks I had to fill yesterday, so I don't want to mess about with that rim too much, but I'm really happy with that. I'm actually really happy with that shape. And that is same thickness all the way around. Feel with your fingers. Your fingers are your best calipers. They'll tell you. So I've got no thick part. Yep, nice. Happy with that. Right. So, noisy bit again.
Chris Dodge.
Michelle's not in this chat, and I'm not available to get to Brian's chat tomorrow. But somebody is watching Brian's live tomorrow lunchtime. When Michelle's in the chat, do make sure that you mention that he's buying another tool.
Oh, he is he?
Yeah, he's told William to get 2 of those tool rests rather than just one.
Oh, okay. Chris Dodge says he's old enough to know what a cubit is. I'm afraid, Chris, I am too. Now this is when hollowing or doing the sanding on that. That's one feature I really like on one of my lathes is that I can turn the headstock at 90 degrees and I don't have to lean over the ways in order to do that.
Yeah, Mark's is also turned, but I'll put him at the other end of the camera. So what we do on YouTube isn't necessarily what we would do for real.
Right.
We have to
We'll
think
have
about where
to
the cameras are set.
We'll have to rearrange his camera so that he also has that shot.
Yeah. Then you end up with too many cameras and you get confused. I mean, I've got 4 here and it confuses me already. Chris from Baileywood Books has joined us. Good
So that was
afternoon, Chris.
120.
Mark can't hear us at the moment because he's got his extractor on.
I can sort of hear you. 180.
I had an interesting commission come in yesterday. The chap needs an extension for a wheelchair for someone with Parkinson's.
Oh yeah.
Well, those are the kind of jobs I don't charge for.
No, that sort of thing. It's nice to be able to do it.
Yep.
Be interested in a picture of what you cut for that, though, Ruby, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Yeah, I will.
240 next.
That's one thing about turning. It's fascinating the type of jobs that you get asked to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a few commissions and they send you a drawing and you think, what the hell is that? It's part of something they're doing and you just cut what they asked for. But I do enjoy actually the process of discussing a design with somebody. If somebody comes to me with a design, they're almost guaranteed a good discount because I'll do it for the fun of it.
Yep.
But it's nice to discuss the design, find out the logic behind it.
And just because I've got it here, 400.
Oh dear. Stephen says he's been punished with the dreaded allergy after buying too many tools at the AWGB. So he's not turning this week, just finishing.
Is that from buying too many tools or too many beers?
I really wish I could have been there for that.
No, Andy, if I have to cut to one of Mark's drawings, I charge extra, not give a discount.
But stop talking about me now.
See, I'm surprised that Brian hasn't put in a complaint about that tool on the bed rest yet. Been watching for it, but
What tool on the bed rest where?
when you've just moved, that you've knocked 3 times whilst it was there.
You mean my tools on my bed rest that are on my table?
Well, those are on the table now, but the bowl gouge was not before.
Oh, right. Oh, well. Tough. It's an accepted practice. I don't care what he says. I've seen some of the best wood turners in the world do it.
Brent Beecraft is asking, is that a multi-pour you're using to sand? Can we just have a quick look at your sander?
this one. It is a Makita right angle drill, model number DA3010. It's got a chuck key chuck on the end, variable speed, forward and reverse. And it makes life so much very easier.
I want the 45-degree one. We just don't seem to get those in the UK.
Right. Sanding sealer.
Well, for Brent, he could pick up those, just use it in any drill, really. But those pads he can pick up at Princess Auto. Wait until they're on sale. They're normally around $25 for a package, and on sale you can pick them up for about 10. Steven says he learned more in 2 days at the AWGB than he did in the last 6 months.
Yes. Very, very interesting. How the hell did I do that?
That is a nice thing about events like the AWGB. You get a lot of people that have got a lot of experience in different areas of turning. Get together and you get to see it, share it, and go away with new ideas.
Very annoyed. Very annoyed. I don't know how I've done that. Did anybody else see it?
What'd you
I
do?
think the tool rest touched against the back of it and it scratched it.
A big scratch right there, so I'm going to have to retool that.
Is that when you move the tool rest without turning the lathe off first, Mark?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I did it then. Bugger. Right, anyway. Move on. Yorkshire grid time.
So it's going on a vacuum check. You can refinish the outside.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Gonna have to, though. It's going to have to be tooled.
And Robert's going in with, yep, blemish in your ash.
Robert. Ass jokes. Right, lathe down to 0. Start the lathe. Bring the speed up. 385 I'll do.
Sing, Joe, sing!
Just work it in. Let me go back to this picture, I think. Just let the grit do the job. I'm really pleased with the inside of this.
Doug is singing the song for you.
I must have caught it with my wit. Okay.
Yeah, sharp edge.
Either my wit or my sarcasm, one or the other.
No, your sarcasm, it will come in half, mate.
That's true. Right. Not quite full 3 minutes, but you get the idea. Bring the speed up. When I say bring the speed up, I mean bring the speed up to what you're comfortable with. So as fast as you're comfortable and safe with the piece that's on the lathe, I'm spinning that 1336. Now I've done a lot of heavy tooling with this piece, so I know it's secure in the chuck, and I'm happy that 1336, probably bring it up to 1500, and that's still fine. I'm not doing any heavy tooling. I'm not even doing any heavy sanding. Just buffing, removing the residual. Just bring it up to a speed higher than you used the grids at originally, just to buff off any residual. Whatever you're happy with.
Don't forget, Mark's using a 508 heavy duty lathe. If you've got a lighter lathe, you probably wouldn't want to be taking a 9-inch bolt at that speed.
No. Everything changes for your own circumstances. What I can do at 1500 revs, if you're on a DML 320, you probably wouldn't want to do it. Right.
A good guideline is whatever speed you were cutting at is
Yeah, and I was
safe
cutting
because
at
you've
around.
been doing it. Aim at that.
I was cutting at about 1300, so
Yeah.
only because it was nicely balanced. I felt safe with it. Microcrystalline on the inside.
Now the grain is showing up quite nicely on that piece.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually really
quite
nice.
pretty. Got a nice oval grain in the centre. That's nice.
Put the lid back on. Clear that off the lathe. How are we doing for time? What's time?
Robert said, do you prefer chestnut microcrystalline versus Hampshire sheen?
No preference. They're both basically the same.
Yeah.
No preference. One or the other.
I happen to have chestnut microcrystalline and Hampshire sheen high gloss as my two waxes of choice at the moment.
Yeah.
Because when I was in the shop last, that was the one my hand landed on. Hampshire sheen high gloss is always
high gloss.
That's always a first choice, and that is a blend of carnauba and microcrystalline, which gives you a shiny but hard finish. But microcrystalline is whichever one my hand lands on.
Well, we can't get chestnut products over here, but you can certainly get the Hampshire sheen.
Yeah. I think chestnut is solving their problems in Canada. It was about the labeling.
Labeling problem.
Yeah. I think they are solving those. I don't know what stage they're at, but I think they are working on getting into Canada.
Switch camera on that one. Yeah.
That almost looks like oak.
That's the outside. There's the bloody thing that I've got to sort out in a minute. So what I'll do now, I will finish this bowl in this demo.
So you should have left it on the chuck and then used your device.
Yeah, I know, I'm going to. I wanted to show it. It's alright, because I can put it back in the chuck. I've got the marks. Put that over there, put that over there. This is as quick as it is.
Chris just put in a comment about the speed of your lathe for buffing off. If you have a pole lathe, pump harder.
Oh, I don't want that on yet.
Now, Brian with a Y says, I've noticed recently that after getting a good shine on a piece, several days later, the shine has dulled. Could this be because the wood is not fully dry on turning?
It might be what wax are you using. Because if you're using beeswax, it will drop off quite rapidly.
Yeah, it does depend on which wax you're using.
It could be if the wax is on too thick as well.
Yeah. The trick with waxes is go for a nice high melting point hard wax, because you can get the high temperatures needed to put it on a lathe without a problem. And put on thin layers as opposed to a large layer.
You should have left the bowl in the chuck.
Yeah,
Mark, can we have a wider view?
Mark, you have a center point marked on the bottom of the, so all you need to do is bring it up with your tailstock. You don't even
No,
need the chuck on the
I pref-
vacuum.
Yeah,
I
but we're
prefer
trying to
to
show it, Ruby.
do it this way.
Basically, what Mark's got there is it's a spindle thread chuck goes on, which goes into a Morse taper in the tailstock.
Yeah, I
It
have
comes as
one.
part of the vacuum kit, or it's available for the vacuum kit. And it, in theory, means you can take the chuck straight off the lathe with the piece as it was being turned and put it on the tailstock and guarantee a centre
Right,
straight away.
but since he had already taken it out of the chuck,
Yeah.
I know. I took it out. I only took it out of the chuck to show everybody. I wouldn't normally.
Can we have a look at the device?
Oh, right. No. There's the vacuum chuck. So on. This is run off a compressor, so it uses a Venturi system. So it's there. I do have to figure out a better system for. I used to have a tray up there, but I've moved that. Maybe just hear my compressor kicked in then.
I was just asking what size air compressor do you have, Mark?
It's a Titan Precision Pro 25 litre. Lay it down to 0. Slowly bring the speed up. That's 600 and... Excuse me. Coffee time.
And Mark's compressor is impressively quiet compared to the old-fashioned ones.
It is actually running at this moment. I don't know if you can hear it.
Terry's just bought a Hyundai silent compressor. Which
Can
is
you hear that?
Well, vaguely, yeah.
Right.
But that is also very nice and quiet. And if you're in the UK, Machine might do one which is a bit more expensive, but it's 62 decibels, which is the same level of sound.
Now I am going to just have to ruin this finish.
And Robert pointed out, that, yeah, 6.6 gallons. Yeah, we're used to litres for compressors over here.
So
it's a Titan, Robert. So I don't know if that's available outside the UK. But, I think it's one of these that's made and badged to a supplier. So I think you might find that it'll be there in a different name. So if you look up the picture. The chuck bit that fits the headstock. I'll look it up. Mark can't hear us at the moment.
no, I can hear you. What's up?
What's the make of your Morse taper that goes hold the chuck onto the tailstock?
Hold fast.
Hold fast. That's the one. Yep, the hold fast vacuum system.
I didn't turn the diagnostic doctor on for this.
Robert, if you're looking for one of the chuck parts, you can pick that up from Craft Supplies USA in the States.
Now, unfortunately, when you have something like that, when you make a stupid mistake, you pay for it. Paying for it is I'm having to go back to 120 quid, 180, 240, and then 400 again to get the outside finished back to where I had it before.
Well, things happen.
I got a feeling the Holdfast is actually an American brand, but I'm not sure of that.
Is it American or Australian?
I'm not sure.
I'm thinking it's Australian.
Yeah, I thought it was as well. Now with vacuum chucks, I know it like you keep saying about your own safety is your own responsibility. I haven't been brave enough to find the limit yet. For speed, I've had a piece this big spinning at 750, and I started to feel twitchy about it. This is spinning at 626. It feels rock solid. Doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. I'm applying quite a bit of pressure.
Now, are you going to turn the base down a little bit?
I am. I will do that now. No point finishing the whole bottom of the bowl until after I've done that.
Are you going to
So-
decorate the base?
I will. So,
Stephen Gordon's confirmed that he thinks it's Australian as well. Yeah, I know it's not UK, but
for this, I'm going to use, what camera am I on? Overhead.
Overhead.
Stocks. Right, for this I'm going to use 1/2 inch spindle gouge just to take the tenon off, and the pressure is I'm going to cut towards the headstock, so I'm actually pushing the piece onto the vacuum chuck. I'm not going across until I absolutely have to, because I don't want to use a shearing cut, because that applies a shearing pressure and could force the piece off the chuck. So all the initial cuts, all the heavy duty work is going in towards the headstock.
Stephen says that he's glad that professional demonstrators make the same mistakes as the rest of us.
We're only human.
Woodturning doesn't make mistakes, doesn't make anything. Having said that, what you should learn as you get experience in wood turning is that you should be out of the way of any potential mistakes. That you
Right.
don't.
That's very true. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to pick the speed up a little bit, he says, laughingly. 700. And I'm going to use this English grind again, and I'm going to cut in the correct orientation. So I'm going to start at the center.
I agree with Andy. He says mistakes are design opportunities.
Yep.
Now I don't want a flat on the bottom for this bowl to sit on. But saying that, I don't want a cone either. So I do just need to make sure.
Can we just have an overhead for that bit?
Yeah, okay. Now I can get rid of that cone mostly with the gouge, but I will have to just sand. Still a little bit of a cone there. I might be able to sand that off.
Robert's got another one in there. Round bottoms are best on ash, in his humble opinion.
Right.
We actually had a demo on calabash from a famous turner from Hawaii. He told us the story of the calabash. It's really interesting.
Well, they had round bottoms so they could settle them into the sand.
Yeah, they used to eat on the beach and settle the bowl into the sand.
Now, this isn't a grit I use very often. Blowing my own trumpet. I do like to think I get good finishes off my tools, so this is a bit of 80 grit. I do own it.
Back in the day, only royalty could have wooden calabash.
I like Stephen's remark that his work has so many design opportunities, he never knows what it will look like at the end.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've put a piece on with one thing in my mind that I was aiming for and ended up with something totally different. Because the wood decided it wasn't going to go that way.
I like it when that happens, actually. It's usually when I'm meandering and I just picked up a piece of wood, chucked it on the lathe and start cutting and see where it goes. That's the fun times as
There's
opposed to the
400.
work time.
Right. So, I've got my grits. Now, again, because it's only going to be a small area, I'm not going to put the dust extractor on. So that center's done at 80. So, put 20. And I'm going to do the whole bowl again.
This is a nice thing about having a vacuum chuck. You can leave the finishing of the bottom of the bowl till the end. Or if, like Mark, you decide to put a mark in the outside halfway through the job, you can do it again.
Oh, very funny, very funny. Oh. Everyone's a comedian.
Once you have a vacuum chuck, you'll never go back to the old way of turning bottoms off.
No, I don't. I'll tell you, I use it. That vacuum chuck is plugged in. When I'm doing a run of bowls, that thing is plugged in all day long.
But what's nice is that you can make the chuck types in different sizes and shapes to accommodate different items that you're doing. For example, if I'm making a bunch of eggs, I have some small ones that I made from 2-inch PVC pipe that an egg will fit into, and I can round the ends on them quite nicely.
I'll get quite fast with these grits because I'd had already gone over the outside. So that's 240. And this is still spinning at 700. Yeah, it's fine. That's gone.
Brent's saying he's had a problem with vacuum chucking end grain turnings.
If you have a very open grained wood, that can be a problem because the air will come straight through.
240.
Yeah, there are some things that vacuum chuck isn't suitable for, but
80. So 400.
Yes, and thin bottom pieces as well. I think every turner should turn one exceptionally thin piece just to prove they can do it. And then from that time on, make their pieces a reasonable thickness.
yeah.
Yes, totally agree. Been there, done that. Had the heart attack. And watched the piece destroy itself afterwards.
I quite like doing thin pieces of cherry, actually. Wet cherry. because it
How we doing for
distorts in
time?
those marvelous ways.
Now, Mark, before you do that,
I know.
do you not want to put your design on the bottom so that the sealer goes into the design as well?
Suppose I could. Yeah. Where is it? It's over here somewhere.
Well, your shop is so big, Mark.
Right, so turn the speed down to...
Yeah, maybe give us another viewpoint as well.
Yep. Let's stop. 460. Is that not working?
I agree, Stephen. Cherry is one of my favourites to turn. It smells delicious. It smells like cinnamon in the workshop. Fabulous. And if you turn it wet, it distorts so wonderfully. Although sometimes it will completely split itself in half, but usually it distorts into a really nice odd shape.
Ours doesn't smell like cinnamon.
No, this is only English cherry that smells of cinnamon. But the American cherry, I don't know if that's the same species as the Canadian cherry. It's
Probably.
nice. It looks nice, but it doesn't have the smell.
No, it doesn't.
Just a simple spiral. That's all I want. Bit of 400.
Okay, now you have my permission to put your sanding sealer on.
Thank you, Ruby.
Sorry, Mark, I just can't resist teasing you.
That's... I know. It's fine. Now, just to get that... That's just a bit of spray sealer. Spray sanding, cellular sealer, just to get into the grooves of the spiral. And then the Yorkshire grit again. Another roll of toilet kitchen roll. Oh, I mean, another dead one.
I'm having difficulty finding the right kitchen roll at the moment. I have one here that is too stiff, too coarse.
The one I've got, that I got from Costco. Not Costco, Booker's. Cash and carry.
Yeah. I got another one which was a bulk pack, which is just a little bit too fragile. It breaks up if you go across any texture or anything like that.
One word of warning. Do remember, even though we've been working on this, turning the tenon off, cutting, sanding, texturing, it's still on a vacuum chuck. Vacuum chucks are not infallible. Don't
Yes,
go with
in
this
fact-
like a bull at a gate.
In fact, one day I was turning a piece on a vacuum chuck, and I didn't realize the electrical company was coming by and turning off the power, and they turned it off while I was turning.
Oops.
Needless to say, they got a piece of my mind.
Just rushing a little bit at the end because I realise.
The wood dude's going to watch the rest of this in bed. He's not feeling very well.
Oh,
He feels like he's
sorry to
got
hear
10
that, buddy.
rounds with an angry gorilla.
Probably have.
Well, I hope he recovers quickly. I want to see some more of his nice pieces that he produces.
Now I can turn the speed up. That's 830. That's a little too high. That's better. There, even I started to feel a little twitchy then, because the centrifugal force can dislodge the piece from the vacuum chuck. It's not the case that the hold fails. It's the weight of the wood can shift because it's spinning so fast.
Can't say I've ever had that happen.
I know, but it's just safety first.
This is fairly new to Mark, so he's being
Wuss.
He's being
being a
cautious.
wuss, yeah. No, he's just being cautious because it's a new thing that he's got to get used to.
Okay, and then put it. There it is. Bit of microcrystalline, and we're done. I'll just change the paper around to the other side. Stop the lathe.
Malcolm says you're supposed to use a storage tank between the chuck and a pump in case the electrical supply fails. But I think rubies are actually vacuum pumps, not Venturi pumps. Is that right?
Right. I'll investigate that anyway.
Now this went on a little bit longer because obviously I had a little bit more work to do because I was careless and let the tool rest touch the piece. So I had to reshape the outside a little bit, then resand and refinish. But for the extra half hour it's taken to do all that, it's worth it because the piece is actually really nice.
Andy is suggesting that you put some large magnets on the back of your vacuum control, and then you could stick it to the lathe.
Yeah, good idea. Like I say, I used to have a magnetic tray up here. It used to sit just in there. But I've put the tray over there now. So it's out
Now,
of
if
the
you look
way.
at Mark's headstock, you see he's got the controls for the lathe right up on the top of the headstock.
I can't put them there for one.
When I was down at Mark's and I was playing with his new skew that he just had delivered,
That's what
I
happens.
was having all sorts of difficulties. With my height, as I moved the skew across, my elbow was just touching the speed control of that control box. I couldn't figure out what was going on. It's getting
That's
faster
lucky.
where I was turning it.
That was lucky. Right. Because I moved the vacuum control, the hose came off. So obviously it lost vacuum. So the bowl came off.
Uh-huh.
So don't mess about with your setup while you're doing it.
Now, one way to finish the bottom of that bowl then.
But I have got lucky because there hasn't done any damage.
Yep. What you can do is just put one of those fluffy pads in the chuck on the lathe, put the wax on top, and then buff it.
God,
Yeah.
it sits really nicely actually. Let's give everything a little blow off. Right, and I'll bring these guys back in.
That's why you want a pile of shavings on the floor as well, by the way.
Well, it did land on the rubber mat. So I've been very lucky. There's no damage. No damage done at all. So that's good.
No, that's
So
a nice looking little bowl.
there's the bottom. Just a tiny little spiral. Nice rounded bottom. No flat. So when that sits, it'll sit nicely and it'll just roll a little bit. Undercut rim. The rim dives down ever so slightly.
Yeah, that's a
I didn't
very
want to
nice
dive it down
looking
too
bowl.
much because it does have a crack, which has been repaired. But there's the inside. Continuous curve right the way down to the bottom. No little gravy island that goes down in there. So there you go. One little bowl for sale if anybody wants it.
Chris is asking to see the bottom of the bowl.
Bottom, there you go. Just a spiral with a couple of detail lines inside, outside, just to contain the spiral.
Yeah, if you have a knurling tool, you could use that or something else to put a pattern
Yeah.
on the bottom.
I just wanted to keep the decoration simple because I just wanted the wood to do the talking.
Yeah.
And Doug says, beautiful bowl, Mark. I'm so happy to see you this
Thank you.
morning. He missed you.
Oh, thank you. Bless you. That's really kind. Yeah, unfortunately, life has been very busy, and there we go. I just haven't been able. I've had lessons. I've been away. The AWGB seminar. Today's the first. I'm away again next week, so I won't be able to do a live next week. But the week after, I should be back. I'll do do a bit of a spindle project. Thank you ever so much to Ruby.
You're more than welcome.
To Pete.
You're welcome, Mark.
Thank you everybody for popping along and coming and supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. I really do.
And don't forget to buy Mark a coffee so he can afford more kitchen towels.
Yeah, I need more coffee. This has run out. Thank you ever so much, everybody. I'm sorry I can't be regular, but unfortunately I am trying busy to establish a living, basically. And I don't make any money off of YouTube, despite what certain people think. I think in the last 18 months, I've made 120 quid. There you go. I'm quite open about it. So, you know, 10 or less than £10 a month I make off of YouTube. So I have to try and earn a living elsewhere.
Yep.
Or at least try to. So thank you, everybody. That'll be it from me. And I won't see you next week, but I will be back the week after.
And we'll remind people that in about 4 hours, Emma is doing her her demo for Record Power. So you might want to go over to their channel and see if you can't catch that.
Yep.
Yeah.
By all means.
We'll see you there.
All right. Right. That's it from me. Take care, everybody. See you all soon.